Hello guys, in this tutorial video I will take you through approximation and estimation. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, like this video so that YouTube can show it to all learners. Thank you. Approximation and estimation. Approximations are often linked to such terms as decimal places, significant figures, standard forms, and so on. It is a method or system of counting to the nearest whole. Now, before we learn approximation and estimation, there is need for us to know what rounding is. Now, let's talk about rounding quickly. Now, rounding means making a number simpler but keeping its value close to what it was. It is also a result less accurate but easier to use. Now let's look at this table before us. I'm going to categorize this 10-digit number into two. We have the round down number and then you have the round up number. So what is the difference between the round down number and the round up number? Now the round up numbers are numbers that turns 0 but add 1 to the next number, okay? And then the round down numbers are numbers that turn 0 but add 0 to the next number. So the round up number tends to change while the round down number do not change, because anything you add 0 to does not change, still the same number. Okay, now to make it more explanatory and then give it more understanding, let's see some example. Now 73 is rounded to the nearest tens is 70. Why? Because 70 is closer to 73. Okay, that is rounding. Okay, now why do we say 70? Because if you look at it, 3 is a round down number which turns 0 but adds nothing to 7, and then it's remaining 7. That's why you have 70. Mathematically easy. Okay, now just like what I've said. Now 73 is closer to 70 than 80. Okay, now let's go into approximation. You need to understand rounding before you understand approximation. Okay, now in rounding you need to know the round down number, those numbers that turn 0 and add 0 to the next number, and then the round up number, which are numbers that turn 0 still and add 1 to the next number. Okay, now here we are going to approximate 7,875 into the nearest tens, hundreds, and thousands. Okay, now let's start from tens. Now when you add 10, that number to the nearest tens, you're going to have the 5 turns what? Turns 0 and adds 1 to the next number. Why is the 5 turns 0? The 5 turns 0 and adds 1 because the 5 is classified under rounding to be a round up number. And then it adds 1 to 7, which becomes 8. And then you have the number 7,880. So I've been able to correct that number into tens, which is 7,880. Now let's see what will happen when we correct or approximate that number into the nearest hundreds. Okay, so now let's approximate this number still to the nearest hundreds. Okay, now remember that 5, we do not need 5 because 5 is on the place value of ones or the unit value, so it turns 0. Now the 7 is what we're actually looking at, okay, because it is the number before what we're actually turning or correcting number to, which is the hundreds. So 7 turns 0 and adds 1 to 8, which eventually turns 9, and then I have my 7 placed there. So I've been able to correct or approximate 7,875 into hundreds, which is 7,900. Now let's learn how to approximate that number into the nearest thousands. Now to approximate the numbers into the nearest thousands, the first 2 digits, that is the 75, turns 0. Okay, we do not need them, so we need the number before the thousands, which is 8, and 8 is a round up number which turns 0, and we add 1 to 7, which becomes what? It is very simple. Okay, now this is how to approximate numbers or any given whole number into tens, hundreds, and thousands. Now let's learn how to approximate in decimal number. Okay, approximation of decimal numbers. Now, so we have a number which says approximate 15.7168. Now, how do I approximate 15.7168? That's a decimal number into the nearest one decimal places. Now, do not forget, sorry, one decimal place. Now, what do we mean by one decimal place? It means the number or a number immediately after the decimal point is one decimal place. The second digit is two decimal places. That's the second number after the decimal point, and it goes on and on. Okay, now so we quickly want to learn how to approximate 15.7168 into one decimal place, and the answer is not far-fetched. Okay, so the answer is 15.7. Now we do not need all of these zero because approximation is really reducing numbers into minimum. That is correcting it, reducing it into a smaller number. So we do not need to write those zeros after the decimal point. It doesn't really make sense. So you can leave your answer as 15.7. Okay. Now let's see how to approximate this number into two decimal places or places, whichever way you put it. Okay, now here in this sense, look at what is going to happen properly. Now see, 2, I have 2 here. I do not need, remember the number, the second decimal place after the decimal point is 1, but here the number before the number after 1 is a round up number. Now a round up number, do not forget rounding, it turns 0 and add 1 to the next number, which now gives us 2. 1 plus 1 gives 2, and then you have 15.72. You see, very easy. Now we can also correct this number into whole number. Okay, so we can approximate this decimal number into whole number, and then we just immediately look at the number immediately after the decimal point, which is a round up number. We turn 0 and add 1 to the next number, which is what, 16.0. So you can either write 16.0 or 16, whichever one is your answer. Okay, it is very, very simple. Now taking you through estimation. Now what do we mean by estimation? Estimation is very, very simple. So it means when you're actually going to a market, for example, and then you have 2 items in mind to purchase, okay, and you do not know the range of prices, or probably you don't have an idea of what the price is, you can easily estimate, oh, okay, it should be more than this amount, okay, let me just go with the round figure amount, so I will be able to, purchase this thing without having to get to the market and then find the price higher than what I actually go. So now market women on a daily basis, every person on the planet Earth estimate. Estimation cuts across all our lives. Everything we do in our lives, we estimate. Okay, you estimate the number of food you want to eat. Sometimes you tend to dish some food. It's estimation. You feel like, wow, I could eat this. Sometimes you dish meal and then you eat, you won't be able to finish it, or then you finish it and then you're not full. It's still estimation. Okay, now so let's estimate this value before us. So we have 550 plus 298. Now I could estimate 298 to be 300, yes, to the nearest 100. Okay, and then I can estimate it and say 550 plus 300, and that gives me 850. That is the estimated value of that number. Now if I add the number itself, I'm definitely going to get, let me use the calculator. I'm going to get, okay, so using the calculator, I've been able to get 848. Now 848 is still within 850. See, I've estimated brilliantly. Okay, so that is a very easy way to estimate the value. It gives a number closer to the answer, and it's superb. Okay, now let's take another example. I'm teaching you how to estimate different methods of how to estimate. So here now you have another one, which is 550 plus 248. Now see what I'm going to do. I'm going to extract the 50 and the 48, and I'll place it together, and the actual number really is 98, but I could estimate it to be what, 100. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to say so I would have 500, and then I'll estimate that 200, and then I have 100, and exactly I have 800. Now if I use my calculator to add the actual value of the number, you see that I'll be within my estimate. So I have 550 plus 248, and exactly I have 798. If you approximate 798 in the next 100, you can definitely get 800. So you see, with this estimation, the knowledge of estimation allows you to be able to do anything and everything with ease.
Yeah.